The free market is often painted as a natural force, efficient, fair, and self-correcting. At the heart of this myth lies a single idea: the invisible hand. But what if the invisible hand isn't real? What if it's a myth we've been sold to justify growing inequality, corporate power, and systemic failure? In this investigation, we peel back the layers of modern capitalism to expose one of its most enduring fictions. The phrase invisible hand comes from the 18th century Scottish philosopher and economist Adam Smith. In his seminal book, The Wealth of Nations, Smith argued that individuals pursuing their own self-interest in a competitive marketplace could unintentionally benefit society as a whole. Smith believed that self-interest, when balanced by competition and moral constraints, would lead to a stable, productive economy. But over the centuries, this subtle idea was stripped of its nuance and turned into dogma. The invisible hand supports a broader belief in the free market, that prices, supply, and demand should be left to adjust naturally without government interference. The theory assumes several ideal conditions: perfect competition, full information, rational actors, and no externalities. It sounds elegant, but how closely does this model resemble reality? In practice, markets are dominated by monopolies and oligopolies. A few corporations control pricing, supply chains, and innovation. Consumers lack full information. Externalities, like pollution or data exploitation, are everywhere. The invisible hand is supposed to guide toward efficiency and fairness. But instead, we get power concentration, price gouging, and inequality. So why does this myth persist? Because it's useful. It justifies deregulation, austerity, and corporate tax breaks. It discourages intervention, even when harm is obvious. By invoking the invisible hand, politicians and economists can appear wise and neutral while defending a system that serves the powerful. In the lead-up to the 2008 financial crisis, self-interest ruled. Banks lent recklessly, investors bought risky securities. Regulators stepped aside, trusting the market to self-correct. The result? A global meltdown. The invisible hand wasn't there to stop the collapse. Government stepped in, but mostly to rescue the banks, not the people. The healthcare industry offers another example. Drug companies are supposed to compete, innovate, and drive prices down. But in reality, patents, lobbying, and lack of transparency let companies price life-saving medicine out of reach. Market logic puts shareholder profit above public health. The invisible hand has no incentive to care. Markets also ignore environmental costs. When corporations pollute, the damage isn't reflected in prices. It's paid by society through health problems, climate change, and biodiversity loss. Without rules and enforcement, the pursuit of profit turns into planetary destruction. The myth of the invisible hand helps the powerful. It comforts the wealthy and absolves them of responsibility. It blames the poor for their poverty, saying they failed to compete. Meanwhile, the average person is told to work harder, shop smarter, and trust the system. Even Adam Smith saw the danger of unchecked self-interest. In his earlier work, The Theory of Moral Sentiments, he emphasized empathy, justice, and social obligation. Smith believed in markets with morality. Today, that part of his message is often ignored. The invisible hand won't solve inequality or climate change. We need deliberate policy, public investment, and collective decision-making. Real progress means recognizing that markets are tools, not natural laws. We can shape them to serve justice, dignity, and sustainability. The invisible hand is not a law of nature. It's a metaphor that became a myth, and myths, once exposed, lose their power. It's time to write a new story, one that puts people, and the planet at the center of our economy.